Hey, just before we jump into the video, just wanted to say if you're already a subscriber, thanks a lot for the support. It means so much to me. If you are new around here and you haven't seen much, or you've maybe watched one or two videos, please drop a wee hit on the subscribe button. It means so much to me. There's plenty of playlists, plenty of content here for you no matter where you are on your Football Index journey. I'm sure you'll find something very useful for you. And let's get stuck into it. So here we go with part one of the Premier League preview, all you can eat. Okay, so we're basically going to go in terms of structuring, probably 3 or 4 videos. The way we're going to structure this out is on last season's finishing position. Okay, so we're going to start with the top 6. Okay, we'll go through the transfer window briefly, have a look at the squad and who we see making a big impact throughout the season. Okay, so we'll start off with the champions, Man City. Transfers were quite minimal, you know, João Cancelo and Rodri coming in famously. Otherwise, lots of loan moves, youth signings. Douglas Luiz probably been the headline one because he's went to Aston Villa, also in the Premier League. But Jack Harrison going back to Leeds under Bielsa is something to make a little footnote about and keep that on your radar, and we'll talk about it probably in our time. Felipe Sandler going out to Anderlecht to work under company tells you a good little bit. Delph moving out. The new goalkeeper from America, he's been on loan to Dusseldorf, and the other goalkeeper Muric has been on loan to Forest. Carson's came in as a third choice, and again it's just a lot of youth players getting loaned out. Danilo was involved in the swap for what's his face? Cancelo, and another one going to Wolfsburg, Lucas Nemecha, if you can say that, and Abarbayo, if you can say that, going on to Blackburn. Are probably two of the more kind of ones you'd be familiar with and want to keep your eye out with, as well as Pedro Porro and Yangel Herrera, and there's quite a lot of talent floating about here. But the squad itself, very similar to the season just finished. You know, Ederson will be the number 1. Bravo will do cup games and fill in any, if he is suspended, I guess, or gets any sort of injury. In terms of defence, okay, so we have Kompany out, we have Mangala out, I think, yeah, Mangala's gone. And so you're basically looking at the fight for left back being between Mendy and Zinchenko and Angelino. Now, Zinchenko is like a midfielder, he's done really well, he's got a great record at left back. But with Angelino coming in as most likely, most people's guess, the backup left back, then who's number 1? Is it Mendy when he's fit? If it is, you know, Mendy could, you know, the European window's still open, Mendy might be sold, and if he was, I wouldn't be surprised just because of his injury record and, you know, whatever. So there's a wee bit of a question mark over that. Who is the first choice left back and what's going to go on, and only time will tell with that, of course. At right back, we now have Cancelo come in, who can also play left back as a wee FYI, and Kyle Walker. I think that will be a very competitive and very fierce battle. In terms of the index itself, I'm in no rush to get on Cancelo because I think it's Walker's shirt to lose, and with him just signing, Pep will want to coach him, build him up into the team and bring him in, you know, when he can, and he's got a good history of doing that with players he's brought through the into the squad recently. And then at centre back, I think the strongest pairing is Laporte and Stones. In terms of the index, Stones could be a dark horse for getting more PB points with the passing things that have changed and winning aerial headers, that type of thing. So that could be quite good for PB. Otherwise, at the back, I don't really see, if Angelino's the number, if Mendy's the number 1, he's probably going to be the biggest div magnet for Man City's defence. If not, it's going to be Laporte again. Laporte scores really well. Walker doesn't. Zinchenko does pretty well, but I think Laporte is guaranteed to play the most amount of games out of that defence, and his PB scores are fairly good. His goal record, I don't think is terrible either. He just maybe needs to add another goal or 2. Yeah, you know, 1 in every 10 for a centre half in the league is not bad. And Otamendi, you know, we all know what he's like. He's a good guy. And it's funny because, like, when I first started in the index, and bear in mind he would have been slightly younger, of course, but Otamendi was a relatively expensive defender. So it does have a bit of pulling power on the index, so bear that in mind as well. In terms of midfield, absolutely stacked. We've got, I don't recognise the Spanish boy there, to be honest, but we've got De Bruyne, Fernandinho, Foden. I don't know if Alex Garcia will be hanging about, to be honest with you, but we've got Gundogan, the Pozo boy I'm not too sure about, Rodri, Bernardo and David Silva. The boy Thomas Doyle's probably the next Foden, if you know what I mean. He's had a lot of pre-season and a lot of love So we might see a bit more of Foden, and then that Tommy Doyle might be kind of sneaking in to fill his shoes. As I say, the European window is still open. If anyone was going to be leaving out this midfield, it's going to be Gundogan. But Alex Garcia is probably going to be loaned out, and otherwise I think that's really strong. In terms of dividend potential, any player who could start has got the potential to do absolutely anything in terms of winning best player, goals, assists, that type of thing, on any given match, depending on the opponent. So there's not really too many bad holds. With David Silva coming out at the beginning of the season and saying it's going to be his last season for City, it's a bit of a time bomb when you drop him, to be honest with you. Foden's only going to rise, and I think if De Bruyne stays fit, he's going to fly away, as well as Bernardo. They'll be doing really, really well. And up front, it's really going to be between, in terms of centre forward, it's going to be between Aguero and Jesus. Wide areas, we know Sané's got an ACL, he's going to be out. So we're going to see guys like Mahrez and Sterling really getting a lot of time. Obviously, Bernardo can play out there. De Bruyne has played out there as well. Alex Garcia can play out there. Wouldn't be surprised if Foden got a shot as a wide forward. So the kind of core squad that we know about, they're pretty much all still there. In terms of div potential up front, the only player I'd be looking at is Sterling. The only player I'd be looking at is Sterling, really, to be honest with you. And that's why he is so expensive, because he ticks so many boxes. Liverpool have signed virtually no one. They've signed a few youth players again. They've put a few players out on loan. They've not really done very much of anything, to be honest with you. The Harvey Elliott and then the Sepp van den Berg might be the headlines, I suppose, but there's not really very much been going on here. Very much the same squad, but to their credit, obviously Alisson in goal, Adrian's a new backup. In terms of defence, Trent Alexander-Arnold only looks to go from strength to strength. Robertson and Van Dijk closely following him behind. And then who's going to be the partner with VVD? Is it going to be Matip? Is it going to be Lovren? Is it going to be Gomez? I think he favours Gomez when they're all fit, but Matip's got good form in him, and I think Lovren's going to be sold. And then we've got some other youth players hanging about behind. I'd be surprised if Nathaniel Klein is still there, to be honest. Is he? I thought he went somewhere. And then we've got Keanu Hoover come through as well. In terms of midfield, we spoke about that. Midfield, again, no change, but Fabinho got introduced to this team very late in the season, like we spoke about with Guardiola and Cancelo. Klopp did something very similar. Keita, again, did well as the season went on, got injured, came in, did well, and overall, I suppose he'll be quite happy with his season. But that midfield of Fabinho, Henderson, Keita, Lallana, Milner, Ox, Shaqiri and Wijnaldum, very stable, very strong. In terms of divs, I think Keita's going to be the one that could become the most expensive very quickly, as could Ox. Milner getting older, you're not going to see too much love go towards that. And just the way they play Fabinho and Henderson to win PB, the changes might benefit them. I don't see it, but in comparison to other players in this squad, who's more likely to do it? Gini Wijnaldum, again, he could be amazing with this div change. He's very, very mobile. But again, what you're looking for is who's going to play the most and make the biggest impact. And out that whole midfield, it's really hard. Obviously, you'd say Henderson, but it's really hard to tell in the league campaign, especially who's going to get all the love. And then in terms of the forwards, obviously Harvey Elliott, whatever the hell his name is came in. They've got Ryan Brewster, they've got Bobby Duncan, they've got Ryan Kent, they've got Yasser Larouci, who played left back in pre-season, I'm sure. There's all the kind of youth players floating about, but also the front three we all know. And then Divock Origi is probably going to be the number one debutant behind as well as Shaqiri to come in for any holes. Chelsea, I just realised how long this video is. I think we're doing okay for time. Let's just keep going. Chelsea also have a ban, so all it's been is players out, with the exception of Kovacic. They've made their loan a permanent, and otherwise it's just been loans out, selling players, and they'll continue probably to sell a few bodies. They trim the fat off the squad as the European window is still open. So in goals, we're looking at Arifa Balaga. Backup is going to be obviously Caballero, unless he goes and just give it to the youth player. At the back, now, it's very interesting what Lampard's going to be doing here. David Luiz will be going out, of course. Reece James has been brought back and kept through pre-season. And I think the Trevor Chalobah guy, he's away out as well. So we're then looking at, basically, I think Zappacosta I heard today as well is looking to be leaving on a loan or maybe a permanent. So you're looking at right back, it's going to be between Azpilicueta and Reece James. Left back, it's going to be between Alonso and Emerson. And then centre halves, Kurt Zuma and Christensen is probably going to start the opening game of the season. With Rudiger coming back to be fit, he'll probably take Zuma's place. And then Fikayo Tomori, who was under Lampard at Derby. He probably fancies, he knows him well, and if he's fourth choice, I think he'd be happy to accept that, and I think Lampard will trust him to do that job pretty well. In terms of div potential, Emerson did well towards the end of the season. I think Marcus Alonso and Azpilicueta, when they're on form, are two of the best defenders in the world. And again, just depending on how the div matrix, the PB matrix changes, it might favour one of them. But Alonso on form is one of the best left backs in the world. And if Frank Lampard can get him firing, then he could be quite sneaky. Because I think, sorry, I was just talking. Tierney's left off, so we're going to get to that shortly. But anyway, so what were we talking about, sorry? It's just totally distracted me. Oh, in terms of Alonso, I think he's quite cheap last time I seen him, so he could be somebody who could become quite sneaky. Now, the midfield is crowded, to say the least. Bakayoko, I think, is going to leave in this window, as is, I don't think anyone else here probably will, to be honest with you. That George McEachran, I don't know if he's going to be playing, he'll probably be loaned out. Kennedy, I wouldn't be surprised if he left. Billy Gilmore will probably be floating about. The squad, Drinkwater's out already, so went to Burnley. But Ross Barkley, Jorginho, Kante, Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek and Mason Mount is definitely going to be the core centre of that Chelsea team throughout all the competitions they'll be playing in. Who's going to play the most? It has to be Kante in my book, you know. Other players will probably be rotated in and out on form and fitness and a few other things, but I think Kante has to play every game centre mid, and hopefully Lampard plays him in his better position. In terms of the forwards, we'll bring Pedro and Pulisic into that. So also Pulisic signed in January, he's came through. And in terms of wide players, I've also got Willian. Okay, is there anyone else? Kennedy, I suppose. Hudson-Odoi. I know there's somebody else. Hudson-Odoi, Pedro, Pulisic and Willian's the forward four wingers that will be rotated again on form and fitness. Who will play most? I would probably put my hat on Pulisic or Willian. And then in terms of the number 9 we've got, here are 4 competitors. I don't know about Isaiah Brown, how actually credible a challenge is going to pose, but Tammy, Michi and Olivier will be fighting that one out. And Batshuayi started a lot of pre-season earlier. I think Abraham's getting a lot of love, and Giroud's probably always going to be the sub sort of thing. So Chelsea, pretty strong in terms of div potential forward line. I think Pulisic has got good stats for div, and I think in a better team, and if we're playing him where, and I say we, I'm not even a Chelsea fan, but you understand what I'm saying. If he plays on the left, takes Hazard's position, and having a potentially informed Alonso behind him, and then guys like Kante, Kovacic and Jorginho playing balls to him. Hudson-Odoi on the other side is probably playing a lot if he's injury free, but yeah. So I think Hudson-Odoi is probably going to become, or Mason Mount is probably going to become the most expensive players in this team probably quite soon, but Pulisic is definitely going to run them close, as will probably Abraham should he get the minutes. We then moved down and we're at Spurs. Okay, the Tottenham window was mental. We started off with Ndombele. We then had rumours of Dybala and Coutinho. We ended up with Lo Celso and Ryan Sessegnon coming in. Vincent Janssen is away to Mexico, I didn't know that. Obviously Trippier's out at right back, and I don't think there's anything else really worth even talking about. But the squad itself, Lloris will be in goal, Gazzaniga, Pochettino's best pal from his hometown in Argentina, he'll be on the bench. And then at the back, now the right back thing, I was hearing this on the radio today, right back in my opinion is going to be Foyth, because he played right back for Argentina and got good reviews. And Pochettino, he loves Foyth, and if he's capable at right back, I can see him doing that quite easily. Celtic have done a similar thing pre-season with Christopher Ayer playing right back, and what you find when you have a centre half that can play right back and a back four like that is the team kind of goes lopsided. So you just let the left back go and do what he wants, and you kind of revert to a back three. And because Tottenham have played with a back three in the past, I could see that being the way they go. It might not be Walker Peters might still get a game. There's talk of Sergio Aurier may leave, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was actually to happen, and it's something I would want to just basically tell you right now, in case it's something you have heard before, that he played right back in the Copa or whatever. In terms of div potential, it's really hard to say, to be honest with you, because it's hard to tell who's going to play the most, especially but Ben Davies is almost certainly going to be the first choice left back. But then in the middle, is Toby going to play every game? Is it going to be Jan? Is it going to be Davison Sanchez? Is Foyth going to play? Is Dyer going to play? So it's quite a hard one to actually pick out. Midfield is very congested now. Okay, so there was talk of Wanyama leaving. He's still there. Dele Alli's injured at the moment. Eric Dyer stays. Ericsson is likely to go, I think, from the noises we're hearing. Eric Lamela, Giovanni Lo Celso's came in. Lucas is more of a wide forward. Tanguy Ndombele, Moussa Sissoko, Ollie Skip, Harry Winks. You know, so they've got a really deep midfield. Poch does like to play diamonds sometimes, 4 centre mids. So depending on if Eriksen stays or goes, and fitness and form on a lot of these players. Ryan Sessegnon's going to be the backup left back, by the way, behind Davies is what everyone's kind of surmising at this moment. But I can definitely see Tanguy Ndombele becoming what Wanyama could have been, would have been, same as Sissoko, getting little glimpses of form, but this guy's a professional destroyer midfielder, and then in front of him you're likely to have, you know, Lo Celso and Eriksen if he's still around. If not Eriksen, maybe Dele Alli. If not Dele Alli, maybe somebody like Harry Winks, you know, so I can see that being the main dynamic and free in that kind of central area. If there's not guys that are going to be getting played or whatever, they might be sold or loaned out. Guys like Moussa Sissoko, I think, was linked. Lamela's more of a wide player, obviously, and Eric Dyer's more defensive, so he'll play backup. And in terms of forwards, Troy Parrott has been given the number 18. I'm sure it's not the number 9. He's been given a decent squad number anyway, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be backup to Harry Kane. Heung-min Son, I think it's going to be amazing this year again. I think the guy's incredible. I love him. But without any of the South Korea nonsense and all that stuff going on, I think he's on track. I think he'll have a great, great season. And behind Harry Kane, if he wasn't the most expensive player in this team, I'd be very surprised. Lucas Moura, of course, out wide. Sessegnon can do that job. Moussa Sissoko can do that job. Eric Lamela is a wide forward as well, obviously. But Harry Kane's probably going to be the star of Tottenham again this year, should he stay fit. Arsenal, out of the top 6, in my opinion, have had the most positive window. There's also still players that might leave and go out, okay, but the additions of Kieran Tierney, Nicolas Pepe, the Saliba thing is okay, I suppose, for next year, but getting Ceballos, whatever you want to call him, and David Luiz on his way in, I think they've had the most positive. You know, they've really did a lot. And I put a tweet out. I wouldn't be surprised if David Luiz played centre mid, defensive mid, in front of a back 3, or even a back 4. The way they're going to line up. So Leno's going to be in goals, of course. In terms of defence, Chambers gets. Arsenal fans love Chambers and rate him. Mavropanos, I think, might go out as well, from what I hear. Monreal, I could have sworn left. Socrates is there. And Mustafi, I'm sure, is on his way out. Kolasinac is obviously decent as well. But in terms of div potential, I'm telling you right now, when he's fit and when he's firing, Kieran Tierney is going to be the best defender in that team by a long way. He's on recovery table from a double hernia. So when he does come back to fitness, it will probably take a bit of time to get back up to game speed and then up to Premier League speed. He'll be pushing himself. And I think it will take a while, so I'm in no rush to buy him because I think he'll go backwards, because I think he will have a kind of... If you remember Andy Robertson's first season at Liverpool, nobody really was ranting and raving about him until February. He signed in the summer, so I think something similar could happen with Tierney very easily. But when it does, I think he'll be undoubtedly their best player at the back, if not the team. Midfield, Ceballos, we all expect to play playmaking, passing Spanish midfielder. Guendouzi and Torreira are probably going to be... the defensive mids. Back, you know, it's hard to tell, because the thing about Unai Emery is he plays a lot of shapes and a lot of formations, you know. Mkhitaryan, great when he plays and he's fit. Ozil, who knows what's happening there. He could still leave, of course. I don't see that happening really at this point. But they've got a lot of talent in midfield. Granit Xhaka as well, a solid kind of number 6. He's okay. He's probably a 6 out of 10 for most things Arsenal fans would agree with, I'm pretty sure. But in terms of div potential, if Ozil's played, he's got it in him. If not, Mkhitaryan is a great, great, great dark horse to have in your portfolio. And then up front, Nicolas Pepe, Aubameyang and Lacazette. It would be a stupid man to say who's going to be top goal scorer out of those 3. It could really be anyone. But what I basically see is that being the front 3, and any kind of guys you could put it in, Aubameyang out wide, or a tight, narrow 3, with a midfield 4 behind him with 3 at the back. I could see that with Tierney and Bellerin bombing on the wide areas. You know, there's a lot of different things. Tierney as well, like Roger said, Tierney's best position, if he was to get to the top level, which Arsenal you'd say is going to be centre back. So Tierney could even play centre back. He could play centre back along with David Luiz. Kolasinac out left, Bellerin out right. You heard it here first if it happens, but it's definitely not beyond the realms of possibility. But otherwise, yeah, it's going to be those 3, and then all the youth players will be floating in as subs and covering cup games. But I think Arsenal have had the best window out of these top 6, to be honest with you. And then we come to Man United. Pogba stays from the looks of it. Lukaku out, Maguire in. Wan-Bissaka in, Dan James in, came in very, very early, but otherwise not much to report. There'll still be players some leaving, I do believe, as well, just guys that are surplus to requirements. But David De Gea has stayed, that's a massive signing. Bailly's injured. Rojo looks to be leaving, potentially for Everton today, still waiting on paperwork being confirmed. But out of that, Wan-Bissaka didn't do well on PB last year, even though he got amazing write-ups. I can see probably Harry Maguire being the PB magnet in that team, or maybe even Luke Shaw. Midfield, who knows how they're actually going to shape up, to be honest with you, with some of these players. McTominay does get a lot of minutes. Matt has just been given a big deal. And then all the young guys, Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood, these guys all get plenty of love pre-season. Fred, I think, has been kept for a reason. The Nemanja Matic is obviously old and getting out. But if Pogba stayed, he has to be playing every game, and I think your money's still going to be very safe with Pogba in Man United's midfield this year, regardless of really how much he plays. I think now Rashford and Anthony Martial are going to be fighting for the number 9 jersey, in air quotes. I think Solskjaer has to get rid of Sanchez or try and get a tune out of him, and I couldn't really tell you what he's leaning towards. But they do actually, as you look at it, if Martial and Rashford are going to be playing number 9, they do have a bit of, obviously Dan James has came in, and I don't really know much about the position of James Garner and Angel Gomez in terms of are they wide or central and that type of thing. Lingard can play wide, but they do have and Ashley Young, who's like 50, but they do have a bit of a shortage in the wide areas, which is actually quite an odd thing to say given the players they have. But having no Lukaku now means some of these guys will be competing for central positions. Excellent, guys. So that concludes the top 6. Who we think is going to be div potential, what we think of the squads, what we think of their dealings overall. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.